Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Bork. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, 23rd day of August, 2018. Hope you're having a great Thursday. We made it past that old hump day, Wednesday, and now we're all in that downward slide into the weekend. And of course, everybody's working for the weekend, so I hope you've made some good plans. If you're returning, let me just say welcome back. If you're here for the first time, a special CFRN welcome to you. Glad to have you with us. If you can't see the chart I have up, go to our homepage, cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. You'll be registered in 30 seconds. And it's good through the end of the month. You only have to register once per month. That gives you one-click access to the show each and every day. While you're out there, go to youtube.com/CFRN/live. Bookmark that page, and you'll always have one-click access in the event go-to goes down. Good enough? All right. Here's a bit of news for you. SIM jacking. We've heard of carjacking. Now there's SIM jacking for sports cars. know, it's true. SIM jacking, in which a fraudster ports a victim's cell phone account to a new handset with the intention of stealing their crypto, is on the rise. Last month, there was a fellow, Joel Ortiz, accused of stealing $5 million in Bitcoin using this particular manner known as SIM jacking. You know, the SIM card in your phone? Right, okay. SIM card, SIM jacking. Motherboard, the magazine or website, not the one in your computer, has now revealed details of this 19-year-old, that's right, Joel Ortiz, stole $5 million, and he's not even old enough to drink in most states. Is that crazy or what? I'll vote for crazy. All right. According to the indictment, he has been, quote-unquote, living the dream while enacting all the crypto memes. Don't get me started about memes. I have been on the internet, talked to my friend the internet, scoured the internet, and I'm still not sure what a meme is. but that's okay. Now, a name no one in their right mind would attempt to pronounce is believed to have invested some of his ill-gotten sim-jacking gains in a McLaren sports car, and was pictured alongside it in a now deleted Instagram post with the caption, "Live fast, die young." I thought it was "Die young, leave a good-looking corpse," but man, I guess they changed it. The man with the unpronounceable name has been released on bail, but his alleged partner in crime, Joel Ortiz, remains behind bars. Okay. After enlisting the services of a branding company and performing extensive community consultation, Zencash has pulled a Rayblox/Nano and claimed a new name. As of August 22nd, the cryptocurrency formerly known as Zencash is now known as Horizon, and it's horribly misspelled. H-O-R-I-Z-E-N. Horizon. Okay. The project's co-founder said the Zencash project has greatly evolved since its inception more than a year ago, and it's now time to expand our brand to more accurately reflect our mission to promote the fundamental human right of privacy worldwide. What initially launched as a privacy-focused cryptocurrency has transformed into a much broader and deeply capable platform that will host a variety of privacy-focused applications, including secure messaging and publishing. One bonus of the rebrand is that the cryptocurrency will get to retain its Zen ticker. But it's not called Zen anymore. But I digress. Earlier this year, a research paper claimed Bitcoin to be compliant with Sharia law. That theory has now been put into practice with the establishment of the United Arab Emirates' first Sharia-compliant exchange. Unbelievable. The platform, which is being created by ADAB Solutions, will service Muslims in the Emirate states who wish to purchase cryptocurrency whilst adhering to Islamic teachings on finance. Just to ensure it's compliant with all things Sharia, the exchange plans to set up an in-house Sharia advisory board. From the UAE to the Dominican Republic, now the home of Crypto Matchup, a new app that encourages social cryptocurrency trading. One of the biggest successes of the Bitcoin Cash community has been humanizing the act of sending and receiving crypto through a range of fun mini projects such as Pixel Wallet. Crypto Matchup can be added to that list. It aims to help cryptocurrency fans around the world arrange informal meetups to make trades in person. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. Not a good idea. Okay, there's already a thing out there like this. You're meeting up. It's, my goodness, it's like buying something off Craigslist. Oh, wait, I do that. No, seriously. You're going out to meet a stranger you don't know to do a digital cash transaction. Yeah, I'd bring my boys or my homies or my posse or the cavalry, something. Don't go alone. I don't even think it's a good idea, period. But, and others would say, well, no, wait a minute. Everybody else is hiding behind screens and screen names, and I'm actually going and meeting the guy in person, or the lady, or whatever. So, I don't know. It worries me, yeah. Uphold, Crude, blockchain at Berkeley. Oh, let's start over. Uphold. Oh, that's the company that's holding me up for my 5 bills. And they keep they won't give me my money, and they keep charging me $5 a month to hold on to my money. What? Uphold, Cred, Blockchain at Berkeley, and Brave have teamed up to create a coalition that will oversee the Universal Protocol platform. It will enable proxy tokens of all kinds to be created and managed, overcoming the interoperability problem that obliges coins such as Ethereum and Bitcoin to exist on separate chains. Proxy tokens will serve as a representation of the underlying asset. Okay, this is crypto gone metro. You know what I'm talking about. The early days of the internet were very similar to the world of blockchain today, with many different technology platforms, fragmented and incapable of communicating with one another. J.P. Theriot, co-founder of Uphold, it's like, they should name it Hold Up. That's, yeah, okay. Now, I'm going to tweet today. We believe that the Universal Protocol platform is a technology that has the potential to connect blockchain technologies, much like the breakthrough of the TCP and IP protocols that drove the internet towards mass adoption. All right, there's your little bit of news, and I got a little bit more when I come back, but let me remind you that today's Thursday, as I was reminded. Yes, Thursday. And what's that? What's Thursday? It's Dr. Tom Day. Yes, Dr. Tom will be joining us today, as he does each and every Thursday, to talk about investment grade gold. So you don't want to miss that. Stick around. Let's take a quick look at the numbers around the world right now and just kind of see where everything's sitting. We're going to start with cash markets here in the U.S. We'll do futures in a bit. The Dow is currently down 71 points. NASDAQ is up almost 3. S&P 500 is down 3. And the Russell 2000 is down 6.5. Basically, the only green on the screen for the US of A is the NASDAQ, which is positive by almost 3 points. In the crude oil basket, crude is down 18 cents today, trading 67.68 last. Gold lost $9.10, trading 11.94.20 last. In Asia, at the close, the Nikkei added 48 points. The Shanghai added 10. The Hang Seng lost 137. Quiet trade. And last but not least, in Europe, at the close, the FTSE lost 11, the DAX was down 20, and the CAC was off by 1.25 points. No movers, no shakers. Now, when I look at my chart, as you are looking at my chart, let me Prices went up and prices went down, and prices went up and prices went down, but the numbers are the numbers, and so that's what we gotta deal with. By the way, these are this week's zones. I switched them out yesterday. I normally don't do it till Thursday. Don't get spoiled, but I really, I think, wanted to point this out more than anything. The all-time S&P 500 E-mini futures record high was, stand by, was 2874. 2874. I should write that down. It seems like something worthy of being written down. 2874. Yes. All time high. Okay. Now our weekly zone up there in that neighborhood was 72/73. Will I ever live that down? Honestly, I don't know. It's so close. I'm teasing. That's pretty good, right? I mean, I didn't go to college or anything. And then on the way down, the swing low here, the swing low here was 28.46 1/4, and our zone was 48/49, so pretty close, right? Okay, enough of that. We're going to do something a little bit unusual today. All right, we're going to go to Michael and get a recap of everything that happened in the live training room today. When he's done, I'm going to come back. I'm going to talk to John. We're going to talk about concierge trade alerts. We're going to talk about Logic 247, and then at the top of the hour, 1 p.m. Eastern, it's Dr. Tom Day. All right, so Michael, giddy up.
All right, I have it.
That did not sound like a giddy up.
Giddy up.
I didn't hear no blue jeans smacking leather as you swung into the saddle.
Well, I'm not wearing blue jeans.
Really?
Pretty warm today.
I can't remember the last time I didn't wear blue jeans. No,
I can't remember the last time I did.
You know, now I used to be real big on the khaki type pants with the, well, I won't go into that, but I had the loafers. Did you know that I wore loafers with no socks way before Don Johnson ever did?
No way.
Oh yeah, ask my wife. She'll tell you. The blazer, the tee, the whole nine. The guy totally stole my look, took it on TV. People say Dwayne Reeves, huh? People say Don Johnson, oh, yep. I don't know. Not bad enough. No, seriously.
Stole your look.
So how you doing?
I'm all right.
Well,
I'm all right.
That's good. We got a partners meeting tonight.
Yes, we do.
You know,
9 p.m. Eastern.
We need to. We've talked about it off air, and we said we were going to make a decision, and then I talked about it on air, and told people that we had to make a decision off air. The L247 people, can they come to the partners meeting? Remember we talked, we were going to have a separate meeting, the same meeting, and we both said we don't know meeting. And because, you know.
Yeah, about the 24/7.
Yeah, they have zones, but they don't have indicators.
Right.
I'm letting them know one by one as I meet with them that if they want to get on board with the indicator program, that we do have, you know, a special opportunity available just for them. Hey, funny thing happened on the way to the recap channel. Everybody hear me good, all right? Might want to turn the 8 up a little bit. Yeah, okay. Now, here's what happened. We had a 3-week public beta, and things went pretty good. In fact, at the end of the beta, I created a separate Telegram group just for the recap. Now, I recapped it all throughout the 3 weeks, but I created a special place for both members and non-members, partners, non-partners. The whole world could go and look at the recapped results of those 3 weeks and discuss it. Yesterday, no, day before yesterday, pop-up webinar day. I was informed that when a new person joins that group, they cannot see the previous history. So let me break it down. In Telegram, a channel is a one-way street. That's me just talking to you, and you can't say anything. You just got to sit back and listen. However, a Telegram group is much different. Now, when a person goes into a Telegram channel, they will see everything that's ever been broadcast by that one voice back to the beginning of time. But in a group, oh no, a new person only sees what is posted after they join. So for like a week, I'm walking around, everybody's checking out that, that recap, and I guess they're just saving up, probably around Christmas, they'll have enough money, and that's when they're going to join. And I find out nobody could see the recap. Every day I'm on the radio going, go see that recap, man, and people go there and they can't see anything. But they didn't tell me. Now, are they afraid of me? Or is it the mental stability thing? I mean, I don't know why anyone wouldn't just tell me to my face, dude, there's nothing in the recap channel. Because I could have fixed it a long time ago, but it's now fixed. So if you might be one of those folks who journeyed over to the Telegram official public recap group, and you thought that somehow you were broken because you couldn't see anything, oh no, it's not you, honey, it's me. I promise. I broke it. And fixing it was relatively simple. I just turned it from a group into a super group. That's right. We are now a super group. And you can see everything all the way back to the beginning of time. So with that, I'm going to hit mute. I'm going to wander, pace. I think I'm going to look out the window. I'm going to pensively look out the window and visually embrace America's largest city park while you do the recap.
Very good.
And then when I come back, I'll make you say it all over again. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, bye.
I will get on the recap. It's going to be a quick one anyway because we only had 4 trades, but here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, the 23rd day of August, 2018. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the home page here at CFRN.net. Right over here on the side, it says apply. It says 5-day free trial. Hit that, apply.cfrn.net. Or you can scroll down where it says free 5-day trial, no credit card required, use proprietary indicators for free. Any one of those, do that, and you're going to be brought to this page. On this page, all we ask for is your email, your first name, how you found us, hit the submit button. Okay? Once you hit that submit button, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click the confirmation link, we don't know that you took the trial. So, do that. Okay. As I said, today is the 23rd day of August, 2018. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you'll read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, we made 2 ticks in gold and 10 ticks on the ES to put us at plus 145. Today, it took 99 minutes and 3 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we were up $120 a contract, and we took a total of 4 trades today. So on the month now, we're at $1,860. That's over 16 days, averaging $116 per day. That is 1 contract, 2 hours per day. Okay, on the year now, we're at $22,958. That's over 154 days, averaging $149 per day. Again, that is 1 contract, 2 hours per day. Okay, 1 contract, 2 hours per day. Yeah, so put that down. Come over here on the gold and show you the one thing we did on gold. We missed a trade right here that, well, would have given some profit. We picked up 2 ticks on this one, and I had drawn these leg lengths, and now these bars that you see here are exactly the same height, that one, and that one. And what I was looking for was for this leg length to finish out, which would have brought it down here. But it got really choppy. After we did this, this is like a whole, well, from here to here is an hour. Okay, and then I said things will probably loosen up during the break when European markets close, and they did loosen up a little bit. There was an opportunity right there, and it's pulling back right now, but the cycle is going up too steep for a short trade. Over here on the euro, I missed a couple of opportunities here on the euro. Let's see. Looks like there was one right there, but what time was that? Yeah, I had technical issues starting up this morning, so I was a few minutes late. But there was one there that I missed, one over here that I got to break even on, one here that I missed, and that was it. Then during the break, we had a beautiful shorting opportunity off the BBC right there, followed up by this one right there, and then that one right there. Okay. On the crude oil, oh, let's see. Let's just look at this crude oil. On the crude, oh, it looks like there was some opportunity here before I got in, but we didn't do anything with the crude today. We missed one trade opportunity right here that would have been a break even, and we didn't do anything with it today. And that's unusual for us. There was a short here during the break. Right at the break, there was a shorting opportunity right there. And during the break, we didn't really have anything in here during the break. Okay. In the ES, we didn't have anything up until right here. We took this short, we picked up 8 ticks. That's where we got the goal for the day. Then it was followed up by a momentum short. We got 2 ticks, and that went all the way down to the zone. So we went from this zone down to this zone this morning. And you can see since then it's been really choppy stuff. So nothing else since then. Okay. So back to the spreadsheet. Today is the 23rd day of August, 2018. We made 2 ticks in gold and 10 ticks on the ES, put us at plus $145 a contract. It took 99 minutes and 3 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $120 a contract, and we took a total of 4 trades today. Okay, so on the month, now we're at $1,860. That's over 16 days, averaging $116 a contract. On the year, we're at $22,958. That's over 154 days, averaging $149 a contract. Okay. Okay. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the home page at CFRN.net. And over here on the right-hand side, it says 5-day free trial. Click on the apply.cfrn.net or scroll down to where it says free 5-day trial and click on that. Either way, you're eventually going to be brought to this page. On this page, all I ask for is your email, your first name, how you found us. Click on the submit button, and you will be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click the confirmation link, we don't know that you took the free trial. Okay? Okay. And with that, we can send it back out to Studio A, fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, where Dwayne is pensively overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready. All right. Dwayne must not be ready.
You looking for me?
Yes.
Dude, that was quick.
I only had 4 trades. So it was a slow morning. We did get the goal for the day, though.
Tell me about those 4. Use the recap of the recap format.
The recap of the recap format.
Yes, please.
It took 99 minutes and 3 trades to get to $120 per contract.
99 E-mini trades. Oh, no, that doesn't work.
No.
Remember that?
99 minutes.
99 minutes of trading on the wall. Take one down, pass it around. Did you guys sing that when you were a kid?
98 minutes of trading on the
It was
wall.
99 bottles of beer on the wall.
Yes, I know.
Oh, you know? Okay. I didn't know if you know see that. I didn't know if it was like an East Coast thing or. Oh, that's right.
No,
I
no,
grew
no.
up on the East Coast. Oh,
No, they sing it differently in different places.
oh, they do.
I was watching something on TV yesterday, match show or something, from like the 70s.
Oh, you mean like in
And-
China they sing it in Chinese, or
Oh, they probably do, but
that's not what you meant?
one of the thing wasn't take one down, pass it around. $98. 98 bottles of beer on the wall. It was if one of those bottles should happen to fall, 98 bottles of beer on the wall. That's what they said. If one of those bottles happened to fall, instead of take one down, pass it around. They said it differently.
That brings back.
I saw that on TV.
That brings back
Really?
memories. Sweet memories. No, I'm kidding. Hey, what's that thing you say before you show people the spreadsheet? How does that go?
Before I say, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you can read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom.
Okay, what he just said. Listen up, because I'm gonna show you guys something. I guess you've already seen it, Captain.
Probably. I don't know what you're going to show.
Probably, as in, I've seen everything. No,
I've seen it all.
I've seen it all. You know, I don't know why my Excel spreadsheet files, I guess you call them, this is a foreign language to me, they open up in something called File Viewer Plus. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
They used to open up with, I don't know, whatever, Excel, or I've got that Open Office. Oh, did you know Open Office was taken over by Apache?
I did not know that.
See, a lot of people didn't. I didn't. So, maybe I shouldn't even be showing that. That's not part of the show. Okay. Now I'm not gonna try to pretend I know how to read this because Russell did it for us, but it's really swell. Like number of alerts issued. You got your trigger, number of alerts that triggered per the mentoring guidelines. You got your no triggers. You got your record of first target of alert being hit. It does not include additional targets being hit from the alert, nor does it include multiple entries that presented themselves while the alert was active. Stop out. Number of alerts that triggered but were exited by the hard stop being hit or exiting before trade reached a minimum of 60% of first target due to trailing stop being hit as taught regarding risk management and mentoring guidelines. Okay, and what's this? Okay, these are the 60%ers. Remaining opened, to be determined. You got your primary futures markets, your miscellaneous, multiple alerts issued. I mean, there is, and just wait till you see the one that's coming, from since we launched officially after this 3-week. This is just the 3-week beta here. That sucker got tabs all across the bottom. I don't know what it all means, but it's a lot.
Well, he put a lot of work into that.
He did. He really did, and I just can't. I made an executive decision yesterday and appointed him the head of the Ministry of Awesome. We had a small ceremony, just a few friends, but it was nice, and I think he appreciated it. So a person could scroll down, like I guess on this day there was 3 alerts. That was at the very beginning of the beta when I was just, a little timid, trying to cut my chops at the big city. On the 17th there was 1, 2, 3, 1. Well, I know there was 10 the first week. 3, 4, 6, 9, 10. Okay. Then the second week, 5,
And John's out there,
5,
by the way.
6, 8, 3, 6. Okay, and then the third week, 12, 12, 21, 10, 11. Okay. And so, I'm going to invite Russell to join us perhaps tomorrow and just kind of walk everybody through it. I'm sure all you college guys know how to, read a spreadsheet. This is like target hit twice. I think, I don't know. There's a lot of information here. You can drill down and get your big old disclaimer and disclosure. Got your recaps. Oh, I didn't even see this yet. Hit the second target 2 times. Okay. No trades in this range. Typo, right? Yeah. Okay, so it's all documented. Now, I think the way it ended up finally breaking down, once he got it all clarified and stratified, there was 88 alerts, actionable, 88 actionable alerts, and 66 were profitable, meaning they hit at least the first target or a minimum of 60% of the final target or only target. So, you know,
It's good stuff.
I don't know if that'll get you a cup of coffee on Wall Street or not, but where I live, the dogs are still barking, so.
Excellent.
It's humane, right? No, I'm kidding. I love dogs. So thank you, Russell, for all your hard work. I look forward to working with you in the future. And if, Michael, you probably got places to go, things to do, people to be, right? Are you going to hang out?
I have an open house for Jake today.
You got a what?
Open house at Jake's new school.
Oh, at the school? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, well, that'll be exciting. Yeah, absolutely.
Should
Well, if you could open John's mic on your way out the door, that'd be awesome.
I can. There it is.
Questions in the chat box that haven't been answered?
No. No questions.
You know, I'm gonna start a book of Jim's quotes. Every day he comes in here and says something totally off the wall and then leaves. A few years back, the masses wanted Barnabas to live and Jesus to die a very horrible death. Why do people do these things? RJ says, I thought he stole it off Jed Clampett. What? Stole what?
The look.
The look. Oh.
Don Johnson look.
I never put that together. Man, I miss Granny. Oh, God. All right. John, welcome to the show.
Hi there.
How are you?
Not too bad, thanks. The chart you've got up in front of you there,
Yes,
we got this, you know, this obviously with all the hype about the longest bull market ever, and Trump coming out this morning say the greatest economy ever, etc.
That's like an athlete getting on the cover of Sports Illustrated, right?
Yeah, a little bit like that. And you know, I don't mind him bragging about the economy, but it's really the longest peacetime, you know, the strongest peacetime economy ever. And you can't really compare this economy to World War II because this economy is like 1,000 times more sophisticated, comprehensive than it was back then. You know, there's so many elements to it these days compared to the past. There really is.
War, and we didn't even have smartphones.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole thing is that well, it's kind of like, you know, the modern day version of building a Liberty ship every 3 days, 17 hours, and building 10,000 planes a month. Is Boeing building a 737 every 10 days or a week to 10 days. That's pretty incredible.
That's what the number is. That's what Boeing's doing right now. Okay.
Yeah, they built 9,000 planes, 9,000 737s.
Okay, now, what's the lifespan of a 737?
Well, the lifespan of these planes is 30 or 40 years.
So at some point, don't we reach market saturation?
Well, one would think so, but you know, more planes flying than ever, and you know, it's pretty amazing. I mean, it's just like that picture of the Russian jet. You know, that one of the engines burst into flame, and whoever heard of Red Wing before? It's one of these sort of startup airlines in Russia, I guess, and it's kind of like Europe. I mean, you know, remember probably 15, 20 years ago, Europe was very rigid. It was just British Airways and the, you know, the national carriers competitors came into the picture and brought the prices down to where they are today. And then it all happened in Asia. You had, EasyJet and all these Asian carriers. Then it happened in Australia.
Did you say Red Wing?
I think it's called Red Wings or Red Wing, something like that.
Let's see.
There it is, airlines, I see. There it is, Fly Red Wings, there you go.
Oh, okay.
So you've got, Virgin is a big carrier in Australia today. And then you've got all the carriers in the US, obviously quite a few of them went out of business over the years, but there's still a pretty strong fleet of competitors. But the big surprise is Latin America. There's a lot of carriers, especially in Mexico. There's all kinds of new airlines that fly in Mexico, startup airlines. And in China too. So and in Asia in particular is just incredible. so the demand for, and look at the growth of Etihad and our Emirates. I mean, they're the biggest airlines in the world. These carriers out of Dubai. And you know what's amazing? There was a thing a few days ago. It's actually a Visual Impact, I think, or Visual Capitalist, I think it is. They did a visual of the fastest growing countries over the last 70 years, or from 1950, so 68 years, I guess. And the most amazing reference, or most amazing.
I've never seen this website before, John.
No, it's a very good one. It's very good, but I'm not sure whether you can find that particular. Yeah, maybe you can look for it, search for it, visualizing.
What was what's the title?
Country growth in population growth in countries. And the ones with the biggest population growth are Dubai and Qatar. Qatar has grown 100 times in population. Can you imagine? Since 1950.
It's playing the video, I think.
No, that's the wrong one. That's not the one that shows it.
Okay, let me
no,
it up.
that's
Would be this one, World Population Growth Visualized.
Yeah, that's the one. There you go. Look at that. That's amazing. The UAE and Qatar.
Tell us again what it is we're looking at.
Just move the screen down a little bit.
Okay.
And look at where it starts. It goes from 1, right? So all the different countries.
Okay, but what is it telling us? 1 times what?
Well, it's telling you that the fastest growing countries, population-wise, over are Qatar and the United Arab Emirates.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I guess
why is that? Is it part of their religion? They have a lot of children.
No, because they kind of they're the ultimate build it and they will come. They remember they were just desert, and now they're people go to Qatar and the UAE just to see what an incredible job they've done.
All right, so
these fastest growing cities in history, and they're pretty amazing.
Now, who's the
Oh, that's Montserrat. That was the one that had the eruption in the Caribbean. Half the island got obliterated by a volcano, and basically everybody moved out because it became unlivable over there.
Yeah, in 1995, a previously dormant volcano erupted in the overseas territory in the Caribbean. Interesting. People evacuated, mostly fleeing to the UK, and the population of the island dropped by 2/3 over the period of 5 years. That's amazing. Yeah, so you're talking about people come to see this kind of stuff. I mean, that is quite fascinating. I guess that's what people.
They're not just coming in; they're buying. I mean, these people have taken money creation to a whole new level, because they literally dredged all that stuff out of the sea and created all these islands, and then charged an absolute fortune for people to go and buy lots of property.
How safe do you think, from an engineering standpoint? I mean, you think it's pretty safe to live on one of those islands?
It probably is, because it's probably got a lot of bedrock.
I wouldn't want to be there in the event of a what you call it, a tsunami. Hey, that earthquake off of the coast of Oregon. I used to live in Portland, and so it was 6.6 yesterday, and I forget how many miles it was off the coast, but they did not issue a tsunami warning, which I thought was kind of unusual. If that thing had not been as far out off the coast as it was, wow! If that thing had happened in Portland, well, there'd be a lot of tragedy, So.
One day there's going to be a big one over there. It's either going to happen in Yellowstone, or it's going to happen in the San Andreas Fault, California, somewhere like that, or maybe Alaska, or the Aleutian Islands.
Speaking of Yellowstone, that is a new series on TV. It stars Kevin Costner. He went from the big screen to the small screen, and it's really good. And it's the first season, so everyone should be able to go back to the first episode on your on-demand, whatever it is you have, and watch it up through. I think probably this past week was the last episode of the season, or maybe next week. But he's a good actor. Everyone, it's just a real quality television program. It's Paramount, the big movie studio. They're now making stuff. It's the first time I saw the Paramount logo on a television program in the bottom right-hand corner. Yeah, so it's a high-class, high-dollar production. So.
No, like I say, against this environment of longest bull market ever, we had a bit of a dip last night, and then the market came back up this morning, took a little bit more of a dip just after the open, and then it took off and went up almost vertical. But the mid caps kind of ruined that rally by dipping into negative territory and dragged the rest of the market down. And as you can see, we're turning down again. We've potentially put in, if you look at the way this thing is shaping up here, we put in that high. I think was that the record high right there, right?
Right there.
Which you called right very well on the correction. Right. Then we had a retest. We've had a double retest with a double top. Failed to make a new high. Not a very good sign. Probably means we're going to come down to the low 2800s, and then potentially could turn back up again. But we're getting a bit long in the tooth going into late August, and while the semiconductors are better today, and especially Nvidia, which we had a great run on, we actually sold the highs of this thing this morning right about here. Before it had a bit of a correction. Amazon, made a sort of a double top this morning, and has come off a little bit. So you got to be very careful here. If we don't break down too much from here, I wouldn't consider it to be that much of a deal, and we probably work our way higher again. But if we do break down, the more we break down from here, the more dangerous the market can potentially get. Because if we did get down to the low 2800s and we didn't rally back up, that would be a bad development. And the weird thing is, second day in a row now, the transports are off considerably. So this is pretty usual behavior for the transports. When they decide to go, they go. We've effectively made a double top on the transports. That's something to be very, very careful of. And we're making a kind of a weekly double top right now. So And when you look at the chart of the S&P, they throw up on the screen when they talk about this record bull market run, it really does look a little bit, you know, like the highs may be close to being in, if they're not already in. So, and it's very easy for something to come unraveled here.
Which chart is it that they throw up?
Well, the S&P monthly.
Just S&P monthly.
Yeah, yeah.
What do they offer? Oh, they got futures. I guess that's.
We could do SPY. You know.
SPY would show up good. Okay, SPY.
Sure. SPY.
Okay, there's the SPY, and you say monthly?
Yeah, or weekly or monthly, either way.
Monthly,
you know.
I mean, look at this. I mean, all these months we climb. Very few red candles, and then we get a retracement.
You know, look, here's a risk. Here's a risk, Wayne. If we, first of all, after last month, we've got a very small month this month, right? We're making a kind of a weekly reversal there already. And you know, if we close down, if this thing closes below about 280, like I said, down to the late 280s, you know, the 2820s, it's not going to be good, because you're going to have a low range month right after a big range month. That potentially could turn red or negative.
Yeah, you could have a candle that looks.
Yeah, and that could be it. I'm telling you. So, you know, September, October could be rather brutal, because, you know, there's definitely going to be, as we get closer to these elections, just like Trump said this morning, you know, if he gets impeached, the market will crash. You know, I wish he wouldn't say things like that, but he.
I know. Richard asked a question. Do you know what the number of days is in the current bull market, including today?
4,000 something, 4,395, something like that.
Does that match with your numbers, Richard? Rich, this is a guy who really knows the numbers.
You know, actually, as far as I'm concerned, they cheated. You know, we became the longest bull market 4 days ago, because, as usual, these people measured it wrong. They should have measured it from March the 6th of 2009. That was actually the turning point. That was the low. Okay. It did retest on the Monday, but believe me, the market bottomed on March the 6th. You know, nobody can dispute that. It's an absolute fact.
March 6th of
2009. And everybody calls it March 9th. It's not March 9th. It was March 6th. Well, right, I know, because I called the bottom.
It's pretty obvious. It's right there. That says March 2nd. Is that? Are you saying?
Well, I tell you what. You know.
Oh, I've got it on a week. I'd have to go daily to.
Yeah. I think you'll get that. But anyway, the Nasdaq, as far as I'm concerned, the Nasdaq bottomed on the 6th. You know, but I think you'll see that there were.
Daily won't go quite that far.
Okay.
It only goes back to 2010. Okay.
But you know, I mean, look, you're staring at that double top there. It is a little, you know, it is a little bit ominous looking, and having gone to a slightly higher high, that's a very dangerous kind of a thing there. If we fail,
this right
from here,
we recovered from this. I mean, we had a right here, you know, back in time. This was a double top.
Yeah.
And then we put in this lower low right here. Right there. I mean, the whole world had to think we were going to heck in a handcart, and look what happened. I mean,
So and we probably, you know, what potentially could happen is we could pull back to maybe 260, somewhere like that. Then we could go up again. But you know, when these things, I mean, there's a reason why these bull markets have got a limited lifespan. And there's always something that, you know, torpedoes these things at the last minute. So you definitely have to be very, very careful right about now with these things.
Here's a monthly of the Dow. Let's see what that looks like.
Well, that's the big surprise. You know, the fact that the Dow hasn't made a new high is kind of creepy, you know.
Oh, I see the problem.
And the Dow has been underperforming. Yeah, you know, look, it would be, I mean, this could be a bull trap, you know, of immense proportions, because, you know, the average old timer on Wall Street is going to tell you that the transports, having just made a new all-time high and the Dow didn't, you know, the market just doesn't top out under those conditions. You know, it's just not, it's,
Look at that Dow.
you know, we could have a pullback. We could have a pullback, but you know, the market almost can't top out unless the Dow is the last man standing. It's just plain.
Well, this is the Dow I got up right now, and this is monthly, going all the way back to 05.
Well, you know what could happen, Dwayne. You know, listen, the market, the S&P and the Nasdaq could go sideways to down here in the next few weeks, and the Dow could somehow struggle up to an all-time high. That would be pretty dangerous if that happens. You know, because if we suddenly find ourselves where the mid cap and the Nasdaq and the transports and the S&P all of them, and the SOX semiconductors are unable to make a new high, and the Dow makes a new high, you better run for the hills, because that's exactly what happened in 2009. I'm sorry, 2007.
Can you see where my cursor is right now? A little hand right here.
You mean 05? Yeah.
April of 05. You know what happened in April of 05? Launched CFRN.
Oh, how about that?
Yep, there it is. All we had to do on that day was just buy the market, strap in, and hold on.
Well, if you remember, Dwayne, you and I were very bullish right up to the middle, in fact, of December 2006. I basically said we're going to go up sharply from you know, in 2007, but I said, you know, we probably wouldn't get past the middle of the year, and we didn't. Plain and simple. That you know, we topped out in October, as it turns out, but we did top out in July the 19th and October the 10th, 11th. You know, it's just like the 06-09 of March, that you know, by some measures the market topped out on the 10th, and other measures it topped out on the 11th of October. So but that was a brutal sell-off.
Yeah, it was. I remember.
And
It was my first experience.
yeah, and look at the way we're rolling over here now. This is not looking very good.
No, it isn't. So if we come back down, last night on the concierge trade alert email, we said to consider selling 28.55. The first time down, we went one tick over the line. Came back. Guys, how many times have we seen this movie? You get a leg, and it wipes its way through, it just slices through that zone like it's not even there, pulls back up, confirms that it is going to be good resistance or support if it's flipped around, and now we're going to get the leg that continues in the direction of the slice. And we could see 48, 49 before today's session is out. I'm not predicting it. I'm just saying.
Stick, can you put up the VIX?
Yeah, sure.
VXX. It looks like it's making a bottom here.
VXX.
See that kind of double bottom on the greens? You see the two green candles there, where we've made a kind of a double bottom off.
Here?
Yeah, right.
With that right in the middle of it. Yeah, that looks pretty bearish to me.
No, but look at the kind of doji candle today, right? And
oh, this little spinning top.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
My eyes are drawn to this guy.
Doesn't matter. You know, it's. I think that same sort of thing happened. Look before just at the end of January. See that? Before the market took off. 2018 January.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
Before the.
Oh, there we go. January of 2018.
See that spike that got taken out?
Oh, that big spike right there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sort of happened. You see, look, remember I said to you, we talked about this. See that little double, the up down, the down up, red and green, earlier in August that made the bottom, right?
August. Here. Oh, here.
Right.
Yeah.
Now go back to the bottom in December, or in January rather. Go back to the bottom in January, and look at those. No, before it, right down at the bottom. You see the double, the two double.
Right down at the bottom.
See those two? Yeah. Very similar characteristics, and the fact that you had a run up, and you've had a pullback. Now you're kind of poised. There's almost open space above for this thing to take off.
Okay.
And what's interesting is it's sort of this is a little bit like the bottom in 2009 in reverse, in the sense that we're talking about the VIX now against a topping out market. What does that chart show you? It shows you that the deceleration in the price decline from where we were back in April, May, where there's a lot of steep declines, right? You could almost take this chart and show it like October of 2008. There were these tremendous declines in the market, and then the big rallies, and then the final bottom came in around. It's almost like March 6th in reverse here. What we're looking at right now. It's almost like March 6th in reverse, the way I see it.
The time got away from me. Dr. Tom normally joins us at 1 o'clock on Thursday, and I haven't even looked to see if he is in. I announced it at the beginning of the show, but I'm looking to see if I see him in the. Hey, Dr. Tom, if you're out there, kick up your heels because I don't see you, and you normally reach out before the show. Okay, go ahead, John. I'll shoot him a text message, see if he's still coming.
Okay. So look, you can't rule it. Obviously, if the market goes higher, it will spike down. But I'm just saying to be ready. Let's see how the day ends up. But it not right now. I can sense there's starting to be a bit of a bid coming in for the VIXs here, and it's almost gone positive. So right where we are at the moment, and in spite of that, we're already positive on a doji basis. So it'd be very usually these dojis they tend to be quite just like the last time when we had that little double right at the bottom, and next thing you know, you had quite a big rally and quite a big pullback in the market.
Okay, now Michael P. has a question that I'm sure other members of the audience have as well. Are you saying that the market is going to drop, or are you simply saying that this is going up, which means increased volatility?
Well, that's a good question. Go back to January. We bottomed. Can you get a bit more info?
Yeah, this is daily. I can go weekly or something if you want.
No. Just keep it at daily. There you go. Okay. Look at when did the market when did the VIX bottom? The VIX bottomed the 11th of January, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But we didn't. The market didn't top out till the 25th of January. So the VIX started rising ahead of the market top. In a sense, we're kind of doing that right now. You could argue we made a new all-time high here in the last day or two, right? In fact, yesterday on the Nasdaq, or today even, we're close to an all-time high, and the S&P, and we're not making lower lows on the VIX. That's a divergence. That's a positive divergence there on the VIX, and that's what happened in late January.
Okay. So what are you saying that we should be preparing ourselves for? The possibility?
Well, look, I mean, is there still a chance of a melt up in the market? You can't rule it out. But what are we, August 22 today?
Yes.
What's the date? Oh,
no,
23. 23. Okay, we've only got another week of August left, and we've got to September the 4th. We're really in a window where the market could top out. Within the next week or so. So I think on a risk reward basis, the VIX looks quite interesting here. Around this level.
Dr. Tom did text me back. He is going to join us. Do you want to hang around and chat with us, or do you have?
No, it's okay. Listen, I'm going to run because he's.
All right. Well, so tomorrow we'll wrap up this week, and I got a spreadsheet I want to show you. I'm going to show the whole audience tomorrow once I get started on how to use it properly. All right.
Okay, we've gone positive on the VIX now, so we jumped about 10 points already. 20, since our last call, we've gone up about 30 points.
And look how much closer we've gotten, or a little closer to this sell alert at 28.55. So live radio trade, guys, if you're looking, 28.44. I'm sorry, 28.54 to 52 to 50. I'll write it on the screen for you. All right, John, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. Appreciate it. Thanks. Okay, bye.
And Dr. Tom, I'm going to close John's mic, put it on mute so he can move about the cabin. And then I'm going to open your mic. Give me 1 second. There's one. Dr. Tom, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Having a good. I am too blessed to be stressed.
Oh my goodness! If I was any better, I'd be twins out dancing on a Saturday night. Thanks for asking. So, what is new in your world?
Well, in a week, actually a week from this Saturday, my wife and I are going to take off for a week for our 25th wedding anniversary.
Hey, congratulations. That's something to, I guess, be proud of. Pride goeth before a fall, but it's the good proud. Yeah.
Well, it's something my wife should get a medal for, actually.
Mine too. She's put up with me for like 35 years. I don't know. We got married in '83. I can't do that much math on this early in the day. But yeah, it's been a while that she has put up with me. And people always say corny, mushy stuff like, I love her more than I did the day I met her. But I do. I actually do. So I think, and that's a wonderful thing, because so many people in this world, in this lifetime, in society today, don't know the meaning of an unbroken home. I mean, I grew up in a broken home, I guess is how they would label it. My parents got divorced when I was 6 or 7. So I grew up with that whole divorce thing hanging over the head. But my parents were, they were good people, and they remained friends up until they both passed away. I mean, they lived separate lives, but they were never, we've seen the movies, with all the hate and the throwing stuff and calling names. And
sure.
They were never like that. In fact, they got along far better divorced than they ever did when they were married. I mean, so everybody won, I guess. But I remember as a child saying, I'm either never going to get married, or I'm going to make sure that the one is the one, because I'm only going to do it once, and I ain't going through this. And by golly, here we are, 35 years after the fact, or something. And
but you made a commitment, and the problem I have, as a pastor, having counseled dozens and dozens of couples, is they say, well, we grew apart. No, you didn't grow apart. you made decisions that took you farther and farther apart, when you could just as easily have made a decision that would have drawn you closer. Life's all about decisions. And it doesn't just happen to you. You know, divorce doesn't just occur in a vacuum. It happens because people don't take care of their marriage, and you've done a good job taking care of your marriage, and so that's something to be proud of.
Well, I've certainly tried. I really have, and I would want the same for everyone. You know, I don't know if I've ever even mentioned this, but according to the piece of paper on the wall over there, I too am a man of the cloth, and we used to have a historic church in downtown Phoenix where I performed countless weddings and also counseling sessions prior to said weddings in this amazing Victorian wedding chapel. And the question that my old standby, I would talk to them together, you know, jocular, and then I would split them up, take them into my office one by one, have a little chat with them. And this is the question I always used. I would say, Joe, let me ask you a question. Well, my name's not Joe. That's all right. I'm going to ask you anyway. Joe, if Mary, when you guys left here today, you love her, right? Uh-huh. And you want to marry her. Oh, very much. Okay. As you guys are leaving today, God forbid, you get in an accident, car accident. She's horribly disfigured. She cannot take care of herself for the rest of her life. Do you still want to marry her? And their face, either they were crestfallen as they thought about it, or it just came out like nobody's big. Of course, 10 times so. Nobody can take care of her the way I could take care of her if that were to happen. God forbid.
That's a great question.
That was my test, man. And if they both passed, and if they didn't both pass with flying colors, I would recommend that. I wouldn't tell them. I wouldn't tell the other one, but I would say, you know, maybe we should have another one of these sessions, and I would then start trying to talk them out of it. You know, until either I felt something shift between them, because so yeah.
That's a great question. I'll have to remember that.
I'm such a sap. I used to cry at some of my own weddings. I would be doing such a great job, and I got the little candle, you know, and the whole nine, and I start tearing up, and I asked the bride, hey, can I get that? Can I get one of those tissues? Thanks, yeah. Now, do you? No, I had a good time with it. It was a beautiful old historic church, and when you walk into it, I mean, the sanctuary, the modern sanctuary, was built in 1938. The original sanctuary was built in 1908. Arizona didn't become a state until 1912. But in just going into the modern sanctuary built in 38, I mean, there's almost 100 years of, I called them the prayer-stained walls. Sometimes there by myself, I would just walk around and run my hand down the wall and think about all the lives, all the marriages, all the funerals, all the families, all the boys and girls holding hands on the back pew, and just, oh my goodness, the stories those walls could tell. And I had people talk about, well, I'm going into my prayer closet and talk to God. I actually had a prayer closet, like 3,000 square feet, with chandeliers and everything. I was like, who am I to have this? I mean, seriously, God, did you get the wrong address? Oh no, I got you, boy. So anyway, enough of that. I want to talk about investment grade gold.
Yeah. How would you like to hear about how to be the head, not the tail?
I'd love that.
Yeah, it's a great subject. You know, of course, it comes from Deuteronomy, and God makes a lot of promises there. And one of them is that, you know, I will make you the head and not the tail. You'll be above and not below. So how does that happen? Because
some loves to preach that scripture.
He does?
He does, oh yeah. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, financially, you know,
He's doing well. Thanks for asking.
in every transaction, every financial transaction, you know, people like to say that investing is a zero-sum game. But tell that to the guy. Yeah, I know. It's just stupid. Tell that to the guy that sold his Apple stock at $20 a share. You know, somebody made a lot of money and somebody lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So anyway,
well, they really beat
people
me up
say
that with the futures market. I mean, everybody that's anybody says, well, you know, futures is a zero-sum game. In order for somebody to make money, somebody's got to lose money. And I go, really? I go, okay, so if I buy an S&P E-mini futures contract at 28.64, and then you buy it from me at 28.68, I made a nice profit. And then let's say another guy, in a few days, he buys it from you for 28.76. Shoot, you did well. Then along comes another guy, and he pays that other fellow that we don't even know 28.80. Now, so far, I got 4 people that all made money. Who got hurt? Who got took to the cleaners here?
Yep. The only loss is what they call opportunity loss.
There you go.
But you know, there's lots of other opportunities out there. But anyway, as far as, you know, our lives as Christians and our finance and our taking care of our families, our budgeting and so on, we know what God's intention is. He wants us to be the head. He wants his kids to prosper. You know, the Bible says, brethren, I would that you be in health and that you prosper, even as your soul prospers. Mm-hmm. So why is it that a lot of people in this country, in this booming economy, there's still people who aren't prospering? Well,
that's a good question. Now, the prosperity gospel, that kind of got all twisted up a little bit. I returned to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and my grandmother when I was 37, which would have been about 1995, 96. I think that's when the prosperity gospel was just getting a full head of steam behind it. And, I got sucked right into it, you know. I was leading the parades and stuff, but then I got a hold of myself, or God got a hold of me, and not that I don't think God wants us to prosper. I do. I think he wants his children to be blessed. What good father does not want his children to be blessed? But I begin to see it with a different set of eyes. So, and I don't know where you stand on the whole thing. So I said that, and now I want to hear, you know, what you have to say here. Very much so.
Well, I was actually going in a different direction, but I'll take the detour with you. No problem. Basically, obviously, God does want us to prosper because he says it. You know, right. He wants us to be in health. Does that mean he wants us to have a little bit of health and, you know, 90% sickness, or 90% health and 10% sickness, or 50-50?
No.
You know, it means he wants us to be in health. So if he says he wants us to prosper, it's not 10% or 50% prospering. He wants us to prosper 100%.
Yeah,
now, what does it mean?
Prosperity is not all about the money.
Exactly. What does it mean to prosper? What it means is that you have what you need, you know, and you have enough to give to others and to give into the kingdom of God. Prospering doesn't mean being rich, but prospering definitely is not wondering how you're going to buy food for your kids, or how to pay the rent or the mortgage. That's not prosperity. And Jesus said, I came into the world that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Not being able to pay your bills is not what any sane person would call an abundant life. So that's where I come down on that. Okay, but what I was leading up to is...
What do you say? I know some people, their bank account got more zeros than I can count. And they're just miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Just miserable. And I know some people who don't know where their next meal's coming from, live in a mud hut, have one white shirt to their name, but it's always clean and pressed on Sunday morning. And they come out of that mud hut with a big old smile, and they sing and they dance their heart out for Jesus all day long, every Sunday. Wouldn't think of doing anything else. Happy,
Amen.
Joy that, oh, it surpasses all understanding. The first time I went to Africa and stood there in that church with the holes in the tin roof and the rain coming in, I thought we were spirit-filled. And then I went to Mexico and I go, oh, this is really what worship's about. And then I went to Africa. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No problem. I don't know if you know this, you mentioned it, but, you know, I do live in a mud hut.
I bet you do.
Yeah. Well, actually, technically I do. It's a CBS house, and it's made out of mud that's been formed and put into bricks, and, you know,
Really?
but,
Really?
yeah, well, that's how CBS houses are made.
I
There's
never heard that term, CBS.
concrete block structure.
Oh, okay. I've heard of concrete blocks. I just never heard it strung together that way.
Yeah. Anyway, what I was wanting to get to here is, you know, if you look at the historical context of what's been happening with the country, then you can see how that affects your prosperity or lack thereof, or your being able to pay your bills or not. And it starts with government, not surprisingly. We used to have the party of big government and the party of small government. Remember that?
Oh,
Now we have the party of big government and the party of bigger government. And nobody can tell me anymore that the Republican Party is a party of small government. They may think they are, but they sure don't act like it. Okay. Even George Bush, who I loved, he's a great man. He was the junior.
Okay.
He was a social conservative. Okay. He believed in the sanctity of life. He was a defense conservative, or what some people call a hawk. You know, he believed in a strong military is the best deterrent against ever having to need it.
Yes.
But fiscal conservative, he was not. He never met a spending bill he wouldn't sign. And we need more people that in government that are willing to say, no, this is enough. You know, this is crazy. So
Now, he grew up with money, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. I think his father gave him a baseball team for a birthday present. No, seriously, he bought the baseball team,
Poor
but
Trump, all
yeah,
he got was $1 million.
yeah, poor guy. I often, you know, go to sleep, you know, kind of worried about him because all he got was $1 million.
Well,
But his daddy could have given him 20 million.
yeah.
You know, he did. I think his father was a good father in the sense that he didn't just give him a blank check. He didn't say, well, here's $1 million, but if you run through it and blow it all, I'll give you another $1 million. You know, he said, make this work. And he did. So there are two black dates in U.S. history that affect all of us today, the way we live. One is 1913, and the other's 20 years later, 1933. So what happened on these terrible days? 1913 was when the Federal Reserve Act was passed. And I would really encourage everybody to read The Creature from Jekyll Island by Gilbert Griffin. It is an eye-opener. It lets you see.
that recommendation, by the way. They all know it.
Yeah, it lets you really see how laws are made in America. And it's one of those books that I like to reread every few years. I mean, there's a few of them. Like I read Smith Wigglesworth and about George Mueller, you know, great men of faith. And you know, they're not books that you just read one time. You read them.
I wonder how many people in the audience know who Smith Wigglesworth was. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, if they want to know,
to hear you bring up that name, yeah.
If you want to know about real 100% committed faith, you want to read Smith Wigglesworth, Apostle of Faith.
Now,
Fantastic
would
book.
it be a Azusa movement?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But he was a soul winner. I mean, he was a teacher, preacher, you know, but he was also a personal soul winner. And he made this vow to the Lord that he wouldn't sleep at night unless he'd won at least one person to the Lord that day. So came around dinner time and he hadn't met anybody and led him to the Lord. He'd eat dinner, he'd go out and he'd sit on the park bench or walk around or whatever till he met somebody, and then he'd share the gospel with them and lead them to the Lord. He didn't care if it was 3 o'clock in the morning, you know.
I never heard that.
Yeah, amazing man. And the other book I mentioned, George Mueller, he had orphanages, and they just literally prayed in the food. I mean, there'll be times when they're actually telling the kids, set the table for dinner, and there wasn't a scrap of food in the house. And he's back in his office praying, and somebody would knock at the door and hand him 2 big sacks full of groceries. I mean, you know, these guys were just...
Did you read my blog last night?
I'm sorry, but I didn't. I was...
I'm really getting goosebumps here because I just poured my heart out on the blog last night. I said, you know what, guys, 18 years, how many times I ever come to you with a need. I don't want to be that guy. I said I would never be that guy. But our orphanage, which we started in 2000, a few years ago, we built a home on the property for abandoned babies. Actually, a group out of Colorado offered to do it. And since then, they provided all the food, all the diapers, the salaries, everything. And then there was a power grab, and some adults, you know, were like arguing with hungry babies. These are babies that are abandoned. You know, they don't have safe harbor law there. And so, anyway, these people, they pulled up stakes. No more food, no more diapers, no more salaries. They even took the website. They took the website. How petty can you get when there's hungry babies that have been abandoned in the background crying in a country that has no social services, no SNAP, no WIC, no nothing. And so on the blog, I said, you know what, guys, I prayed about this, and God said somebody in the CFRN community just might be looking for that kind of ministry opportunity. Why don't you put it out there? And so I did. And now here you are talking about this. So I don't know. Go ahead.
Well, I have to go and read your blog now. I was getting ready for a meeting this Saturday with doing the worship for it, and so I was up quite late. But anyway, those are 2 books that I read regularly. And then in the business world, there's certain books that I read over and over again. And the one about the creature from Jekyll Island, I read that because I don't ever want to forget how politicians can do sneaky moves and, you know, bring laws up, you know, on Christmas Eve, you know, things like that when everybody's trying to get out of town.
Do you think it's easier to do that today or more difficult to do that today? Now, you're talking, you know, folks, he's talking about 1913. That's more than a decade ago, right? 1913. Do you think it's, with all the technology and, you know, spy versus spy, easier or more difficult today?
Well, the only way I can answer that is it hasn't stopped.
Okay.
That's how Obamacare was passed in a Christmas session. Yeah, don't get me started on that one.
Oh yeah, don't get me started either, because you know how much health insurance is for my wife and I? Just take.
I don't.
Of course you don't know. $2,500 a month. Oh, we must have some kind of incurable something. No, we haven't spent $2,500 on doctors since we got married.
And they're charging you $2,500.
I live in Arizona. Yeah, boy, we really took it in the and we get to carry guns here. You know, out in the open without a permit. We can conceal them. We do whatever we want. We got guns, man. And you're going to try to charge us that much for insurance? I don't know how to sleep at night. Okay. All right, back to you. Go ahead, Cole.
Okay. So, 1913, the Federal Reserve Act was passed illegally, immorally, corruptly, but it passed. And then 20 years later, it seems like a really big coincidence that we had the confiscation of gold and the takeover of our financial systems, where gold used to be the money. I mean, it's not, people always say the money was backed by gold. No, the money was gold. Okay, if you had $20, it was a 1 ounce gold coin. Okay, and you could take that 1 ounce gold coin and go buy all kinds of stuff with it because it was worth a lot. It was valuable.
Was it like a week's wages, a month's wages?
For a skilled laborer, $20 was the typical pay. For an unskilled guy like a ditch digger, whatever, trash man, would be a half ounce $10 gold coin called the Eagle.
Okay,
that's why they called it.
Or monthly?
Weekly.
Weekly. Okay, I got you. Okay.
Weekly. And what's interesting, just a little side issue here, $20 for a skilled labor like a stonemason, that's still the wage today, not in dollars, but in gold, because a stonemason makes around $1,200 a week, at least a non-union guy. So the value of gold hasn't changed in that 84 years, but actually, I do. Well, it's even bigger than that. It really hasn't changed in 3,000 years. One of these days, I'll give you all the stats on that. It's fascinating. But, you know, you can call me a conspiracy theorist. You know, it's not a theory if it's true.
Oh, yeah, Alex called. He's not going to have you on the show next week. So
darn.
I'll get your opinion on him later. Go ahead.
Okay. But 20 years, almost exactly, from the time they set the Federal Reserve, with the intent of taking over the financial system, the second step of that happened in 1933. Now, whether that was just coincidence or whether it was by design, I believe that when they passed the Federal Reserve Act, the intention was to wait for the next big crisis and then use that as an excuse to confiscate all the gold. Okay? So it's just as evil if they just waited and we had the panic of 1929 and then followed by the Great Depression. If that happened of its own course, it's still wrong to do like Rahm Emanuel and you know, never let a good crisis go to waste. All right. But there's also a very real possibility, and I can't talk about this with most audiences, but your audience is sophisticated when it comes to trading. I believe it's very possible that the panic at 29 was caused by the government, because you know what the margin requirements are today for stocks. It's 2 to 1, right?
Sorry, say that again.
Margin for stocks is 2 to 1.
Okay.
So for folks who don't know what margin is, if you've got $10,000 in your account, you can buy $20,000 worth of stocks. Okay. You're borrowing the other 10. Right. And it's at very low rates because they want you to borrow.
But you're paying interest nonetheless.
Yeah, it is interest. So all the profit you make is not pure profit. And of course, if you're day trading, you can do 4 to 1 margin, but that's kind of dangerous because you have to close out all your positions by the end of the day. But back then, they were allowing ordinary Joes that don't know anything about trading 10 to 1 margin.
Wow. It sounds like
most people. Yeah, most people don't know this, but it's 10 to 1 margin. So if you're at 10 to 1 and you have a normal correction, correction is defined as at least 10% up to about 20%. So if you just had just a 10% typical correction, which happens all the time in a bull market.
Sure.
If you lose 10% and you're on 10 to 1 margin, where's your account? It's a 0. You just lost everything.
Oh, and you still owe him money.
Well, yeah, if you hadn't paid the interest. So that's why you had people jumping off of tall buildings and killing themselves. because they just lost everything. So I guess they figured, well, let my family get the insurance. It's because of that they changed the laws for insurance, and if you commit suicide, the insurance policy doesn't pay out.
And that's also why those windows on those tall buildings, they don't open anymore.
Good move.
It's true. Yeah, they don't. You can if you get the penthouse, you can't throw the windows open. Well, actually, some of them in Manhattan, you can walk out on the not the patio, whatever they call it.
Balcony.
Balcony, yeah.
There you go.
But it's a real issue. I mean, and people did do that, and I mean, we've heard about that a lot, almost to the point it's kind of been romanticized, and that's certainly nothing to get romantic about, people jumping out of windows. But is there any known statistic how many people might have ended their life because of the financial? Because I'm saying this, folks, because finances, money, gold, you know what? It's all going to rust, or moths are going to come in, or something. Are you going to die and leave it behind? I mean, it's a temporary thing. It's nice. I'm like Richard Pryor. I've had money, and I've not had money, and having it is definitely better. But what do you think?
Well, the other way is to say that is money doesn't bring happiness, but you can be miserable in a better part of town driving a brand new car. So that's a little cynical.
A lot easier to live with.
Yeah, kind of a cynical way to look at it, but the main truth is that money won't make you happy. Never can. So anyway, if they deliberately caused the Panic at 29 by doing this 10-1 margin, or if the government was just stupid, it doesn't matter, because it provided the means whereby the Federal Reserve dollars could be made the only dollars. Again, it's not something you hear in all the courses I've taken in college and other places. I've never heard anybody talk about the fact that for 20 years, we had two totally different types of currency circulating side by side. You had the US dollars, which were backed by gold and or silver, and you had the Federal Reserve notes, which were backed by nothing. So there was sort of a dichotomy there.
At the same time.
At the same exact time.
So if I'm buying something from you that costs $10, I could pay you $5 in one way and $5 in the other way?
Right, because the government convinced people that they were one and the same. And the way they did it is, if this was a webinar, I could show you what I'm looking at right now. You can see the US dollar and you can see the Federal Reserve note side by side, and they designed them to look the same. But there's a difference. The seal on the gold certificate is actually a gold seal, and on the Federal Reserve note, it's a black seal representing the evil empire, as I call it. So they got people used to it. At first, people did not like the Federal Reserve notes, but once they realized that the stores would take it and let them have it, then they did. And gradually, the government started pulling the gold certificates out of circulation. That's another mistaken thought that people have, that he confiscated all the gold and the gold certificates at the same time. No, they were preparing for this. So they started pulling the gold certificates out of circulation, and the percentage of Federal Reserve notes got higher and higher, to where it's practically all Federal Reserve notes. And then FDR did his proclamation, what I call the crime of the century, where he took all the gold and all the gold certificates, and he stole them from the American people. It was the Executive Order 6102. Executive Order, not act passed by Congress. So he violated the Constitution. He changed the entire financial course of the nation, and he started us on the path of socialism. We've had presidents before that were socialistic, but he really made the difference.
I used to have a regular Wednesday guest. His name is Wayne Jett, J-E-T-T. He wrote a book, a 500-plus page book called Classical Capital, and his website is classicalcapital.com. Great guy, but king of the conspiracy theories. And right there, what you just said is one of the things that he used to often talk about and reference. Not the two currencies circulating together, but some of the other stuff that you just mentioned, just brought back. He talked about and he very much thinks that the Great Depression was orchestrated by the government, well, or by the, what did he call them? The ruling elite. That's the term he used, the ruling elite. All the hunger and people in the street, it was all by design. So, yeah, I should have him back one day when you're going to be on, and I think you guys would get along great. I do.
Probably have fun.
Yeah, because you both obviously spent a lot of time researching and studying, a historical fact. And so I don't know why people call it a conspiracy theory. It's a historical fact.
Well, and that's the point I was about to make. I don't like that phrase, conspiracy theory, because it makes it sound like I'm a nut. I'm a researcher, and I publish a newsletter. I've done this every week for the last 19 years now. At a website called conservativetruth.com, and it's the longest regularly published, continuously published conservative website out there. And so I wouldn't have lasted if I was publishing a bunch of garbage. But what I do is
conservativetruth.com
or .org, either one.
Okay, all right. So I just want to let people see it so they can go there and sign up and get it every week. Here you go, guys, up on the screen, conservativetruth.org. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's my latest article, How the U.S. Stole Land from the States. It's an unbelievable story, but the Western states, the federal government has appropriated over 45% of all the land in those states. And yet, if you look at the Eastern states, only very tiny portions. In some states, none. There's none from Maine, for instance. But it's a really interesting story about why. Definitely worth reading.
Yeah, I'll read that.
So yeah, you can see the subscribe button there, folks. Feel free to subscribe.
Where? Oh, right here.
Off to the left. Yeah.
There you go.
There's no charge for it, and we just love to.
And you won't say your name. We won't spam you. None of that.
Exactly. Okay.
Truth.org. Okay. Got it.
You got it. All right. So we've got FDR, who, Obama used to hold up as like the greatest president that ever lived. They almost idolized him, but he was a really terrible person. He had his good qualities, like most bad people have good qualities, and vice versa. But politically, a whole lot more bad than good. And he basically caused the chart that I'm looking at right now, the purchasing power of the dollar from 1913 till today to drop by 96%. I quote that often because it's such a horrendous thing, and people just don't believe it at first. But you can go back on the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics on their own website. Just type in inflation calculator U.S. government, and you'll get this little place where you can put in like $100 in 1913, and they say what it would be worth today, and it's around $3.86 or something.
The inflation calculator by Morgan Friedman.
No, go up.
Find the U.S. dollar 13 to 28. U.S. inflation calculator.
Now the one if you go up there, see where it says CPI inflation calculator, Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Yeah, hit that one.
Go down just. Yeah, I like to send people to the government's own calculator.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, no, yeah, I
so it's not a private website. Yeah, and you can actually do it.
Okay, so put in
$100, plug in $100.
Okay.
And then go down to 1913 on the right there, January.
Right here?
Yeah. Do the drop down and scroll all the way up.
1913, there we go. ago.
Okay. And now you just leave the ending where it is now and just click that, calculate. Only takes a second.
$100 has this. $100 in 1913 has the same buying power as $2,571 today.
So put it another way, because the way they're putting it, it sounds like it's a good thing. But basically, the truth is, it takes $2,600 today to buy what $100 bought back then.
But the same amount of
not a
gold
good
will buy
thing.
the same thing.
I'm sorry?
But the same amount of gold will still buy the same thing.
Exactly.
Isn't that what you say? Okay.
Yeah. If you had well, actually, I'm actually going through some slides here as sort of my outline
we gotta fix that
for today.
I'll get it. We'll get it fixed. Okay.
Yeah, but I've got a slide up that says you choose, and it's got a US $20 coin, because a lot of people have never seen it. When I speak in different places around the world, I always carry a 1 ounce gold coin and pass it around, because some people have never held real money in their hand. And your choice, that $20 gold coin with gold at around 1,200 is worth around 1,300. Okay, because they're not rare, but they're scarce, and so you would normally expect to pay about $100 premium to get the older coins, but it would have 80 cents worth of purchasing power today. So which would you have rather had, your $20 turn into $1,300 or turn into 80 cents? Sort of a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, it really is.
So when he did this, he opened the proverbial Pandora's box. He stole the gold from American citizens, 40% of the personal private wealth of the United States citizens. He ended the gold standard. People say that Nixon ended the gold standard. No, it was FDR, and I can explain that.
Clear me, because I just talked about this the other day here on the radio. I read something, and it clearly stated that Richard Nixon was responsible for taking us off. Help me understand that.
Okay, well, who runs the educational institutions, decides which history books we read, and controls the media? It's the liberals, right?
Well, I was going to say the liberals, but I mean, that's how it is now, but I mean, that's not how it has to be, is it?
No, absolutely.
That's how it has been for a very long time. Yeah.
Yeah, but the people that control the news that you see, you know, the producers, the editors, the publishers, 92% of them either describe themselves as liberal, Democrat, or socialist.
You're talking seven mountains. You're brushing right up against those mountains right now. Government,
well,
education.
We'll
talk about that another time.
I used to speak at Lance Wallnau's seminars, and so I'm really into the seven mountains. But here's the thing: they control what we are allowed to learn, but they don't necessarily give facts. The fact is that FDR took us off the gold standard, took America off the gold standard. Because prior to that, if you had a $20 gold certificate, you could take it into any bank and get a 1 ounce gold coin. You know what you could get for your $20 Federal Reserve note today? Nothing. Well, actually, you can get 2 10s or 4 5s or 20 singles.
Okay, so why are they blaming Tricky Dick with this?
Okay, so that's when it ended. But remember, FDR was a Democrat, so they don't want to blame him for it. Nixon was not only a Republican, but he is a reviled Republican. So convenient you got to hang it on. But here's the difference. After FDR took America off the gold standard, we as Americans, this is our country, our money, could not get gold for our money. But he allowed other countries, not individuals, but nations like France and Germany and so on, they could still turn their dollars in for gold. And so, you know, frankly, I don't care if France and Germany can benefit from a really stupid system, because towards the last of 72, when Nixon closed what they call the gold window,
Yes,
they were pricing gold at $35 roughly an ounce. And the market price for gold was around 200. So how stupid is that? The Europeans drained our country of its gold. Again, this may sound like a wild thing, but there is some very serious questions about whether the gold is supposedly in Fort Knox.
Oh, right. Yeah, there's nothing there. That's like a Roldo's lockbox or whatever it was that Al Capone. Yeah, that sucker's empty. You know.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know that, but we do know that there's not they haven't allowed an audit.
I was just gonna say, they sure won't let us look, will they?
Right. Matter of fact, one of my friends, he's an E9 in the U.S. Army, and he was stationed at Fort Knox for a while, and he decided to go over to where the vaults were, and he's driving over there, just want to take some pictures, and all of a sudden he's surrounded by 2 or 3 Jeeps with machine guns pointed at him. Okay. He wasn't even allowed to get anywhere close to it. And the probably the most the worst evidence, the strongest evidence, is the last picture of the actual vaults. The guys are wearing bib overalls. They've got haircuts like somebody put a bowl over their head and buzzed around it, you know. Obviously taken at least 3 decades ago. So,
and you're saying that's the most recent picture?
That's the most recent. Well, and it could have been 4 or 5 decades. You can't really tell because people cut it. But the point is that, you know, the reason he gave for basically breaking a treaty that we had with 42 other nations, which was the Bretton Woods Agreement, we're just one party to it, but basically he unilaterally broke the agreement, was that other nations, mainly France, were sucking all of our gold out. And by statute, they had a fixed price of gold. They had nothing to do with the real market price. So he just said, okay, no more of that. But our money wasn't backed by gold since 1933. So there's no way you could say that America was on a gold standard. All you could say is that we were foolishly giving gold out at about 1/6 of the price that we should have charged to European nations.
Right.
So, but the other thing he did when he opened Pandora's box with the executive order back to FDR is that he empowered the Federal Reserve System. Before that, they were kind of a weak organization, but once he did that, they controlled the only money that we had. Then they're allowed to print money at no cost, and they loan it to the U.S. government. I made the statement the other day to somebody that, you know, if by some miracle the United States were able to just get a whole bunch of money and pay off our entire national debt, we would be back in debt the next day. Why? Because all the money that's in circulation is not backed by gold, it's backed by debt. So if there were no debt, there'd be no money. So the Federal Reserve would print more money and charge the government interest for it. So they have more control over our economy than the president and the Congress combined. You might even call the Fed, the fourth branch of government, because they control the interest rates, so they control whether people can get a mortgage, whether they can get a job. They even control whether the United States can wage war.
They are the ruling elite, the very thing that Wayne Jett used to come on every Wednesday and pound the desk about.
Yeah. And he inaugurated socialism in the United States. I mean, Bernie Sanders would love this guy, FDR, you know. So he started us down the path of socialism. We probably should mention your what you got there on the screen there, Dwayne.
Ladies
I
and
guess
gentlemen.
I should say Reverend Dwayne.
Ladies and gentlemen, point your web browser to CFRNgold.com. One word, CFRNgold.com. That's all you got to do. Point your web browser there. You're going to get an opportunity to sign up for a starter pack. Information. You'll be on the same page that we're on next Thursday if you get your starter pack and you read through this. And again, this isn't a lot of conspiracy theory stuff. This is what happened to America, to Americans, to our economy, to our currency, and we just kind of sat by and watched it happened. I mean,
if I could say this, Dwayne, what we're talking about today is the background for the Gold Education Starter Package. Okay. It's not about anything about what we're talking about today, but I want people to understand why our money is worthless and why we need gold. The Gold Education Starter Package will tell people how to solve the problem. We're talking about the problem today. The answer is there. And if you read through that and understand it, you will know more than 95% of the people in this country that call themselves financial advisors.
Yeah, that's as part of my official disclaimer, I have to tell people before making any investment decision, check with a licensed investment professional. And, I have to say that, but I also know at the same time it's some of the worst advice I could give them if they go see the wrong financial advisor.
Yeah.
Now, you were talking about education and higher learning. My son came home one day from school, and he says, "Hey, Dad, my teacher's going downtown tonight to see President Trump." It was right after the inauguration, I think, and they were having a rally downtown. And I go, "Oh, well, that's interesting." And then my son goes, "Yeah, he's going down to protest and march." I'm like, "Oh, well, tell me, son, what is it he's protesting?" He said he's going down, and he's already made his signs. He's going down to protest and march because President Trump is going to bring back slavery.
Oh.
I couldn't get over that school fast enough. How can they let our young minds? How can we send our children out to be educated by these people? And yet here I am doing it.
And you're paying the tuition.
I know. I mean, I was so shocked by that. I mean,
you're paying for him to be indoctrinated into the Communist Party.
Yeah, I mean, and he could have been protesting any one of 1,000 different things, and I would have said, well, he's freedom of speech, blah blah blah. But I mean, that's just that Donald Trump has never said anything even remotely close. He's really put his foot in his mouth a lot of times, I know, but he's never said he wants to bring back slavery, not even Omarosa. I mean, come on, it's just crazy. But this man believed it. This teacher actually believed that's because he had been indoctrinated by the people he hangs around with, and he was in what's his name's living room. Oh, I forget that guy's name. Saul Alinsky. Yeah, he was a young teacher, maybe 25, probably fresh out of college, I guess. But he really believed, because he had been told, the voices in his head said Trump's going to bring back slavery. And I got
in university
about it. He was upset. He was ticked off. He was mad.
And his going out there and protesting is going to stop Trump. Around 90%, roughly 85 to 90% of all the professors in all the colleges in the country are liberals. Yes. Yes. But some of the top universities, 5 of the very top tier Ivy League universities, don't have one single Republican professor. Now, how are your kids going to get a balanced education? Even if you're a Democrat, if I was a Democrat, I wouldn't want my kid to go to a college that only told one side of the story. No, exactly. I would want him to learn both sides.
Fair and balanced. I mean, come on. Fair and balanced. What's the one university they pick on now because it's real right-wing and they got all the commercials on Fox? What's it called? Is it called Liberty? Is that it?
Well, Liberty's where my daughter attends.
Okay. Maybe
it's the largest Christian university in the world, 160,000 students. But you're probably thinking about Hillsdale because they take a very proactive stance defending the Constitution.
Money and all that stuff. It's very expensive
That's
to go there. Yeah.
That's Hillsdale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't accept government grants or any money from the government because they don't want the government to have any strings on them.
Well, when we had our home for battered women and abused children, there was so much federal money available. I mean, we had the first 2 weeks we were open in a little 2-bedroom house in a bad neighborhood. We had 13 women and children sleeping on the floor, but they weren't getting beat up anymore. And there's a whole long story about how this happened, but there's a shelter here in Phoenix called Chrysalis. They have a $1 million annual budget provided by the federal government, and they house, the maximum capacity I think is 12 people, 12 women and children. 12, it could be like 12 women plus their children. We had no money. I scraped together $400 to go rent this flop house because, well, I'll just tell you, I read a book by Stephen King. I know that's weird in and of itself, about domestic violence. I had no idea because I didn't grow up in homes where men hit women. It just wasn't done. And when I got exposed to how serious a problem this was, the day I finished the book, I turned on the TV, the news, they go, you know, it's so sad. In Phoenix alone, over 100 women and children each day are sent back home to get beaten again because there's no room at the inn. You taking my $1 million in tax money and you can't even give these people, you know, safe shelter? So instead of, you know, just, I did something about it. I went and I found a for rent sign and I called the lady up and I rented it, and boom, we filled up like that. I just called Crystals and I go, you know, the people you're going to send home this afternoon to get beat again. Well, sure, that's not how we look. Yeah, I know how you look at it. Just give them this address, all right? Well, we don't know who you, okay, I'll be right down. And we got that squared away. So
good for you.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people complain about things, you know, but they never do anything about it.
Well, you don't have a degree in social, you know, you don't. No, I don't. But I'm willing to do something about it. You know, I mean, oh boy, that's a real powder keg issue for me. It really is.
Well, let's wrap up by talking about 3 prominent figures, and each of them has a story to tell. And I mentioned about FDR opening Pandora's box. Well, a guy named Lyndon Baines Johnson.
Oh, LBJ. My grandfather hated that man, and as a kid, I didn't understand why. Go ahead.
Well, some of your younger listeners may have never heard of him unless they read history, because he was the guy that became president when John F. Kennedy was shot. And he was a real leftist, very, very much a socialist, not just a Democrat, a socialist.
But he came
I remember
as a cowboy, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
macho man.
Yeah, he's from Texas and he talked like this, and you know, good old boy. But boy, was he a socialist. So I remember as a kid seeing bumper stickers that he put out there when he was campaigning. It said "The Great Society, a new lease on life." Okay, you know, it's a socialist utopia, and so I changed the bumper sticker a little bit on my slide here. It's "The Great Society, a new leech on life." All right. But one of the things that he started was Medicare, and I'll never forget this. He said that Medicare is going to offer universal coverage for every American, and all it's going to cost is $1.65 a month for every American family. Now, if somebody said that to you, wouldn't you be willing to kick in $1.65 a month?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, in point of fact, we pay hundreds of times that for our, share of Medicare, and yet the average Medicare recipient in their lifetime will take out anywhere from 6 to 8 times as much as they paid in. So people say, well, I paid for that. No, you didn't. Okay.
Right.
Somebody else paid for it. Just like Social Security. You did not pay for your Social Security. When you start drawing Social Security, you paid for a portion of it, but only a very small portion. Almost all of that's being paid for by people who are working now. So that was another big step towards socialism. And then the next figure I'd like to talk about is Ronald Reagan, who was a failure. Now,
in what respect?
I expect your little
Actor?
text boxes.
I mean, he wasn't a great actor, but he was pretty good. So,
is your little text box blowing up with people cursing at me?
not yet.
Okay.
They're waiting to hear what you're going to say next.
All right. I love Ronald Reagan. He was a great man. But one of his biggest promises, one of his most important promises, was that he was going to balance the budget. And he failed miserably to do that. Matter of fact, he complained about, I think it was an $800 or $900 billion national debt. And he said, this is horrible. It's unconscionable. We have to do something about it, and so on. And of course, he had Democrats nipping at his heels the whole way. They didn't cooperate at all. But regardless, he wasn't able to succeed in even balancing the budget, much less reducing the national debt. So although he had a lot of great successes, including the downfall of communism, he never was able to fulfill that promise. He lowered taxes dramatically, which was a great plus in his column, but in that one area, he failed. And then the final one is Dick Cheney. Okay. Dick Cheney, kind of a weasel.
And not a good hunting partner, but
good point there. I mean, they put Dick Cheney on the ticket with George W. Bush to give him gravitas, and he's the old wise guy and so on. And personally, I don't think he added very much to the ticket. But one statement that he made really gets under my skin. He said, Reagan proved the deficits don't matter. That is such heresy. I mean, that's
words.
Yeah, that's like saying Jesus Christ is not the Son of God.
Yeah.
I mean, what in the world? Deficits matter because deficits get added to the debt. And they both start with DE, and a lot of people get the two confused, okay? But they're connected, but they're way different. A deficit is how much money we spend every year over the revenues. And of course, revenues are not just taxes. Revenues are also something that's big in the news today: tariffs, fees that the government charges. They'll charge companies fees to come in and drill oil and federal land, and this kind of thing. So there's lots of sources of revenue, but it's mostly taxes, and it's mostly taxes on wealthy people. But we spend about 58 cents of every dollar is covered by revenues of all kinds. So where's the other 42 cents come from? It's debt. Okay.
It's debt. Okay.
Yeah, we borrow money. And so at the end of the year, they totaled it up, and however much money we spent more than we took in, then that gets added. That's the deficit, right? And that gets added to the national debt. So right now we're entering into a phase where, we had $1 trillion deficits quite a few years when Obama was in office. But now I believe we're going to see $1 trillion deficits even with Trump, because it would take too long to go into all the political stuff that goes into it. But the president doesn't have near as much control as people like to think he does.
Well, we've reached the point of no return. I mean, there's diminishing returns, and then there's the point of no return. And
right,
we are. My children, my children's children, and as far as that legacy goes, we are indentured servants to the ruling elite. Period.
Good way to put it. So let me just wrap up by saying this. We've been talking a lot about problems, and I'm not the kind of person that likes to just complain about things and then walk away. So when I'm preaching, I tell people, here's the problem, and then here's scripture how you can solve it. Okay.
Good.
So, and the answer I'm about to give you is also a scriptural answer, because the only money in the Bible is gold and silver. God said in the first book of the Bible, Genesis 2nd chapter, there was gold in the land of Havilah, and it was good. He said gold was a good thing. And it's because gold provides for solid, stable economies. And as we talked about earlier, for 3,000 years that we know of, an ounce of gold has bought the same amount of stuff. So in other words, it defends against inflation. Inflation is not a U.S. thing. It's not even a modern thing. Rome experienced inflation. They did the same thing. They spent money they didn't have. They borrowed money. They debased their currency. I mean, inflation is just about as old as government. So,
and
go ahead.
Well, I mean, this crossed my desk this morning. Let me see if it's still here.
It's probably in your stack of stuff.
I did not share this, and I'll go into it in its entirety tomorrow, guys. Peer-to-peer cryptocurrency lending gains popularity in China during bear market. Chinese media outlet published a report on the increasing proliferation of cryptocurrency lending platforms. I mean, people aren't even sure about this whole crypto thing yet, but they're lending it, and of course they're, making interest on it. And it's a long article. I'm going to have to read it and take some notes. I don't want to share it with all of you tomorrow, but one of the Shanghai Institute of Advanced Finance, one of their guys, said currently digital currency mortgage lending business mostly occurs only in the currency circle. One party has funds or digital currency to seek lending, and the other party lacks funds or digital currency to borrow. Digital assets can be used for mortgages, and such private trading behaviors can be allowed. I mean, this goes on and on. He's an internet finance lawyer, but this debt thing, I mean, we backed ourselves into a corner of debt with the dollar. So have we created something else that we can now indenture ourselves with? Crypto? I mean, I don't know the answer. It's not a loaded question. I was just surprised to see that, one of the biggest things happening in the crypto world today is this lending.
That is surprising. It's gaining popularity in a lot of different areas. I mean, there's even banks that do interbank transfers with something called Ripple, which is a virtual currency. So I don't know. But anyway, we're not going to get the government to put us back on a gold standard for two reasons. Number one, you got to have politicians with guts. Somebody will say to the people, okay, sorry, no more free stuff. You're going to have to work and actually earn what you get from now on. Who gets reelected on that kind of a platform? So even if they believe that, they're not going to say it because they want to keep getting reelected. The second reason is bigger, though. We talked about the fact that there may not be all the gold in the Fort Knox vaults that's supposed to be there, that they show on the balance sheet of the United States. But even if it was, let's say all the gold is there it's supposed to be, and all the gold in the New York Fed is there, and all the gold that Germany has here, they've been trying to get back for the last 7 years, and that we've somehow lost. Let's say all that gold still exists. Best estimates are we can only cover 3 to 4% of all the trillions of dollars that we've printed. So therefore, it's just impossible until there's a crash and the people say, you know, vote with their feet, say, look, either you put us back on a gold standard or you're out of office. We're never going to see a gold standard again. If it happens, you know, people will get probably $1 for every 100 Federal Reserve notes, but it'd be a real dollar. Okay. So the answer is not getting the government back in a gold standard. That would be nice, but it's not something that's within our control. But what is it within our control is putting our families and our churches and our businesses on the gold standard. And it's simply a matter of buying investment grade gold. Don't go out and buy a bunch of bullion. You should have some bullion. Read the 10-10-10 financial survival plan, which is
the info pack, right? The starter
it is. Okay. That's CFRNgold.com. Yeah, read that and you'll see how you should allocate your precious metals money. But everybody should have a percentage of their total net worth in precious metals, and a percentage of that should be in bullion, and the largest percentage should be in investor grade gold, because it doesn't just keep even with inflation, it goes way higher than inflation and is able to increase your real net worth. It doesn't matter how many dollars. I mean, you know, if I had $100,000 in an account, and when I was a kid I had $2,000 in the account, it's the same. I can buy the same amount of stuff. So it doesn't matter how many zeros there are. It matters on what you can actually purchase. And so if you've got investor grade gold, it exceeds inflation, and you're able to make a real profit, not just a fake profit that we see off most of our investments.
Wow. Deep thoughts for such a shallow mind as mine. Guys, I'm telling you, go to CFRNgold.com. Get the starter pack. It's not going to cost you anything. Study it, read it, get a hold of Dr. Tom if you need to, and be here next Thursday. Get the starter pack, read up, study, have some questions, and be on the same page with us right here next Thursday. Am I right?
Amen. Good preaching.
CFRNgold.com. One word, CFRNgold.com. And be sure and join us next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern for another edition of God, Gold, and Granny Get Your Guns. Dr. Tom. We'll see you then.
Thank you, sir. God bless everyone.
Bye-bye now. Okay, folks, seriously, go to CFRNgold.com. Let me take care of Dr. Tom's microphone. Okay, mute. All right, CFRNgold.com. Okay, just go there. Get the pack. I know you're like, oh, these guys are trying to sell me something. Whatever. Just go get it. It's free information. And I'm thinking about Wayne Jett, but I'm thinking about one of the last essays he wrote before he departed the studio. It was Gold, the Only Real Money. Do you guys remember that? It's still on his site, classicalcapital.com. Maybe what we've talked about today would stir you to want to read that. classicalcapital.com. And the essay, he's got quite a few, is called Gold, the Only Real Money. So, with that said, and a look at the clock, I should be out of here by now. the S&P 3 3/4 points to the upside, and still hugging this week's weekly trading zone at 2859/2860. On the Dow, last night's email said consider selling 25705, and that would be right about here. Okay, actually, based on the time it came out, it would be probably about here. Yeah. So what did I say? 25,705. I'm short on time, so maybe all the lines won't be perfectly straight. 25,705. Okay. So this first move down took us to a swing low of, I call it 25 points. I don't know. Whatever. And then we get another move. It takes us to 25,664. And then we get back above the trigger one more time. Remember, important prices and important areas are almost always tested. There's a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. And the big one took us all the way down to 25,607. Basically 100 points. Add $5 per point. It's $500 per contract traded. Okay. Moving on to the Russell. The Russell's kind of been acting weird. Unusual, maybe that's a better term. Russell. Consider being long 1731, not an option. If you can't do that, consider selling 1718, and we put in a swing low at 1712.70. We'll call it 1713. We'll round it up, and that's 5 points, $50 a point, $250 per contract available. Crude, consider selling 67.75. 67.75. We put in a low at 67.32. It's about $400 per contract available. Gold. I kept you up last night, didn't it? let me just show you one thing. First, let's dissect this. Gold, on the concierge trade alerts, gold said consider selling 1192, not an option. It also said consider buying 1202, not an option. No trigger on the concierge trade alerts for gold. However, on the L2, there's a little different story, and I'm going to talk about that a lot on the show, but I'm going to talk about this because I just think it's probably worth talking about for a moment. Oh, let me show you guys. You see, you do this, and you come over here, and you go GGCZ8. Boom, right? Alert number 116. So I can just scoot right to 116. Wait a minute. Oh, it was number 100. Oh, see, you can look at it later. I just want to share this with you. Alert 100. Okay. Alert number 100. Consider selling GGCZ8 1198 to 1195. The opportunity presents. Yep. A couple times. Now, I made a comment about gold somewhere, And I need to find that because that's really, I needed to show you this. Would that have been before it? I wrote large about gold. Where did I write that? Oh, here we go. No, this might be it. Notice gold alert number 100, which I just showed you. The big picture chart shows a head and shoulders pattern. The neckline is at 11.99. Entry remains 11.98, and target remains the same, 11.95, which is a weekly trading zone. If your trading plan includes position sizing, this opportunity might be the one where you go ×2. Some might go ×10. Some say steady as she goes and change nothing. This has been a public service announcement. See your indicators on a big picture chart. Price attempted a bullish cross and was rejected. If that was the buyers giving it their best shot, the decline could be swift if the opportunity presents. Never have I suggested that someone increase their position size by ×2 or ×10 or times anything. But in this case, it did. Now, number 100. 11.98 to 11.95. It's 300. You know, if you go from the entry to the target, that's $300 per contract. Now, I said, look at your indicators. So we'll do that. Then I'm going to get out of your hair, I think. Okay. You see, bearish cross. Price pulls away and price pulls back. Boom. And then, you see that? Do you see how this got rejected? Okay. We had a bearish cross. The bulls, the buyers, however you want to label them, they tried to take it up, and they got turned away. Right here. This is what I was writing about. They got rejected. If that's the best the buyers have to bring to the table today, well, I don't see any reason why we're not going to go to this weekly trading zone right here. And these are 30-minute candles. There's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 3.5, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours. But it did manage to take us shopping and allowed us to cash another check. So anyway, those of you that might not have known, oh, and then I wrote this. Hang on. I got it right here. Okay. Now I got to do some dragging. Hang on. There we go. No? Okay. I'm sure many of you are looking at gold right now and thinking, what a buffoon, right? Wicks and zones may break my bones, but dang, that's one long-legged doshi. Right there. Oh, don't do that. Let's try it again. Hey. The good news is, the worst case scenario is that you get stopped out. However, our special guest has not yet sung. You know, that lady that they say has to sing. So as they help her onto the stage, you might want to grab something to bite down on. As Nurse Ratchet likes to say, this may pinch a bit. Oh, and don't forget, breathe. When you're trading, you should have a little thing Post-it note on your monitor that says breathe. Because sometimes we forget. There she is, Nurse Ratched in all her glory. Remember her? One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? Yeah. Okay. So now that I don't take myself too seriously, if you hadn't figured it out. But when it comes to you and your money, I take that very seriously. And so for those of you that, as I put it somewhere else, that eloquently loaded the boat, oh, you make my heart sing. You do. No, you really do. InQ. Let's look at that. Good word for the day, and then we're gone. InQ, consider buying $74.49. Okay. That would look a little something like this. It's close enough. So let's just call it 50 because it's easier. Okay, so that's 24 points. You and I know it's actually 25. Okay, I can do that. 25 times 20. Come on, think about it. 25 times 20. It's $500 per contract. Not too bad. We also said, in regards to the InQ, if you get the opportunity, so $74.19. So I'm not the guy that's going to come up and, you know, and paint the tape and tell you, woohoo, look how clever we are. Because this is the truth about trading. Okay? Some guy tells you to consider getting short at $74.19. And this can happen. Right? This can happen. Right? But you see, here's the thing. That guy who told you to consider selling $74.19, he maybe hadn't looked at his indicators, or maybe he was trying to goad you into looking at your indicators. Because you see, as we approach $74.19, what do we got there? That's a bullish cross. And who in the world is going to sell in the face of a bullish cross? Not me. No. And here, bullish cross, blue on blue. You selling? Not me. Okay, I think my point is made. Those of you that are part of Logic 247, I've held off on the third leg of the stool. We talked a couple months, almost daily, about the weekly trading zones and the importance. Of course, we talk every day about the alerts themselves. Now we're going to put the third leg on the stool. We're going to layer those indicators right on top before the month is out. How about before Labor Day? Yeah, there we go. You will be able to triangulate these trades just like I do. Okay? I wasn't born with any special gift. You know, I bleed red like everybody else. Well, I think the name says it all. Logic 247. Get yours today at eminitrading.com. Not plural. Emini Trading System. You only need one. eminitrading.com. Go there. Get yourself a membership. Annual. Lifetime. And don't laugh at the prices, okay? Because they're going away real soon. And they're going to be replaced with real prices. And you're going to really wish, just like all those people blowing up my phone when the real prices came to the concierge trade alerts. Well, you didn't say you were going to charge that. I would have. Stop. I begged you, pleaded with you to make the right decision. I'm not going to beg. I'm not going to plead. I can't sing. I can't dance. But I do want you to go there. I do want you to go to the beta test. I want you to walk the aisles. Take each alert, pick it up, turn it over, hold it in your hand, look at it on a chart, picture yourself trading that. Will you do that for me? Great. You know what? I'm gonna switch it up. Here's the good word for the day. I was praying. God said I should tell you guys, so here we go. This was on the Google Plus blog last night. I think I might have tweeted it too. I don't know. I need your attention just for a moment. Many of you know about New Hope, the orphanage we started in Kampala back in 2000. Many of you also know about Aggie's baby home located on the orphanage property. In America, babies born to mothers unable or unwilling to care for them are protected by safe harbor law. A desperate mom can take the infant to a hospital or fire station, hand the child over, and face no legal repercussions. In Africa, things are quite different. There are no social services, no WIC, no SNAP, no nothing. Except jail. If you're caught abandoning a newborn, you will go to jail. Do not pass go. Now the authorities, once they lock mom up, they bring the newborn to us many times, often, and drop them off. No go bag, no kit bag, no diaper bag, just a screaming baby. We don't know their name, we don't know their history, we don't know their medical condition. A king's treasure ransomed from the trash. You know, we were written up in that Chicken Soup for the Soul. Anyway, the authorities bring the babies, drop them off. We do our best to nourish them back to health, give them a name, go through the legalities of obtaining a birth certificate so they can have a life. And then once old enough, they transfer next door to the orphanage. Now the grown-ups who built the baby home and have provided the food and the diapers for those babies and the salary for the staff for a number of years, well, now they've abandoned us. So we really know, well, we don't know what an abandoned baby feels like, but we know what it feels like to be abandoned. This is a true story. And it's an age-old problem. Ego. There's a little bit of, I don't know, power grab in play as well. Adults squabble to the tune of hungry babies crying in the background. Now this is how bad it is. You heard me tell Dr. Tom, they even took the website. Really? You're going to you take their web? It's one thing to take the Gerber's baby food, right? But you take the website? Since 2001, when I formed CT Global Media and Christian Traders, I may have mentioned a special need, a couple times. However, you know that I make a point of not ever hitting you up, or rarely hitting you up for any kind of a donation. Now, you all got to be nodding your head affirmative. Yeah, that's true. He doesn't, because I don't. Now, some of you have come forward of your own accord and just said, hey, God said, and here it is. I'm humbled when that happens. I never cease to be amazed at how many people around the world make a decision not to give out of their excess, but out of their sustenance. It really is humbling. So I come before you not to beg or plead. I can't sing or dance. I just want to let you know what we're dealing with. The cost of the food, diapers, miscellaneous, and the staff salaries amounts to about $2,500 US a month. As I was praying about this, that small, still voice said, maybe someone in the CFRN community is looking for just such an opportunity. So there it is. From his heart to my keyboard to your screen. Oh, I guess, and this microphone got in the mix somehow. I was just blogging last night. Now, he could mean your Sunday school group or your men's group or your teen group. But somebody, according to God, is looking for just such a project. An opportunity to make the world a better place. And yes, this is the same home written about in Chicken Soup for the Soul. If you think that somebody might be you or your youth group, I can put you in touch with Agnes in Kampala. You can call me. You can visit the baby home in Kampala. Round trip ticket cost you somewhere between $1,500 to $2,000. Best money you will ever spend. So all things are possible, right? If you can help one time, that's awesome. Maybe you can envision it as being an ongoing project and an ongoing ministry that you and your men's group or your ladies group or your whatever group, your HOA, wants to get involved with. I mean, we're talking about real lives, real babies. Nobody to call mom, nobody to call dad, nobody to even pick them up and hold them and hug them when they cry or when they're hungry, feed them. But we're trying to stand in the gap. Agnes, Pastor Chris, and all the volunteers and all the people who've done so much. I can never thank you enough. Even the people that walked away, for all the years that you were there and did what you did, I can't be mad at you. A little confused maybe, but I'm not mad. Hey, you did an awesome thing. God called you to something and you did it for years. Now, when the original need arose for the baby home, the abandoned baby home, we didn't know anyone in Colorado. Hand to God, not a soul. Yet somehow these people from Colorado showed up at the New Hope Orphanage, and when Agnes told them about her project, to get a place for these abandoned babies, they said, pick us, we'll do it. And they did. They the house they walked away from, they built it, stocked it, everything, and now they're gone. So anyway, whew. If you can help one time, that's awesome. If you can see it as an ongoing project, awesome times two, I guess. Awesome forever. I don't know. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Maybe you can share it with a friend. One thing that we can all do together, we can pray. Father, I pray right now for the children, for these babies. You created them for a purpose and with a destiny, God. And we're just caretakers. We're just standing in the gap, Lord. We're just trying to get them from the cradle to the life you created them for. We need your help, as we always do. Lord, the folks that were so faithful for so many years and did all that they did, I pray, God, that you would bless them. Whatever they put their hand to, whatever ministry they're involved in, bless them, Lord, because they did your work and they did good work. Now, God, we just need somebody to take their place. I know your arm's not short, and you've already got it planned out, mapped out. You got the blueprint. You got it wired. Just want you to know that all of our hope, all of our faith, and all of our trust is in you and you alone. Thank you, God, for allowing us to play a small role in the lives of these precious children. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Partners Workshop tonight. Be there or be square. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.